The other babies, lying in isolettes or radiant warmers, were surrounded by equipment that flashed and beeped. These at-risk infants had wires and tubes attached all over their tiny bodies, and the nurses were expending great effort to make sure they would survive. The lack of life support apparatus surrounding this particular baby was a telltale sign she was ready to be moved out of this high-energy, high-tech environment, and I was there to move her. I exercised a great deal of self-control by reining in my eagerness to hold her by waiting about 3 seconds before I asked permission to pick up Emmeline, the name we decided to give her. The nurse assigned to her for the PM shift agreed with a cheerful nod that I could. I leaned over the crib, my breath catching in my lungs, a sob in my throat, tears pricking my eyes. I thought, oh God, is this really going to happen? Then I carefully scooped Emmeline into my arms and snuggled her close. I took a breath, catching a whiff of the sweet, distinct newborn scent mingled with Johnson's baby shampoo. Baby Emmeline was almost feather-light, and her fragility added to my desire to gather her in close and protect her. Holding her near me and peeking underneath the typical nursery blue and pink striped cap, I could tell that her head, although abnormally tiny, was formed with an intact skull and a downy covering of light brown hair. My 18-year-old daughter, Joanna, had driven the 80 miles with me to the hospital. This was our initial visit, and I wasn't exactly sure what the protocol was or what Joanna and I would be expected to do. The nurse brought us some guest chairs, and we sat so we could dote on the precious infant. I gently ran the back of my first finger across her smooth pink cheeks. A neonatologist, wearing the usual wrinkled and faded blue scrubs, came into the nursery and pulled up a stool next to us. She leaned against the edge of Emmeline's crib and cocked her head to the side, brows furrowed in concentration and caution. "How did you get into this situation?" she asked. I think it was a little hard for her to believe we had willingly volunteered to care for this baby, or perhaps she thought we hadn't understood the gravity of Emmeline's prognosis. I quickly explained that I had experience as a neonatal nurse, as well as a bereavement specialist offering hospice care to families when their babies died on the labor and delivery floor. I shared my desire to come alongside an infant with baby Emmeline's lethal condition. I couldn't change the fact the baby would die, but I could care for her and love her for the short time she had on Earth. Once the physician realized I wasn't going to be deterred from taking the baby home, she sat back, relaxed her shoulders in relief, and grew tearful. She said, "When this baby arrived in the NICU 2 weeks ago, I was so dismayed because I thought she would never have a family. I'm so relieved this is happening. I don't know if you're a person of faith, but you're a godsend for this baby." She had other infants to attend to, so she left us to bond with the newest addition to our family. Though I didn't want to hand her over, I needed to share, so I cheerfully placed the precious bundle in Joanna's arms. She was beautiful to us, and so still, like a porcelain doll. Joanna held her as gently and carefully as she could, while I plied the nurse with more questions about Emmeline's care routine. I wanted to know everything. I had already decided to give her my all, no holding back, no regrets. This baby was not going to feel the least bit unwanted. For whatever time she spent in this world, my family would give her open arms and open hearts. God had numbered her days before the beginning of time. He was fully aware of when she would be called home. I was confident He would carry us through whatever lay ahead. After holding the precious infant one last time that evening, I gently placed her back in the wooden crib, promising that, God willing, we would be back soon. We left the NICU hoping and praying this baby would live long enough to come home. Earlier on the same sunny day, I had been required to empty my hands of a job I had held dear. After a year of being unable to work because of health issues, I returned to the office of my former employer, a hospital on the eastern coast of Wisconsin, and met with HR staff to collect the personal items I had left behind the previous summer. Boxes of photos, mugs, books, and mementos such as a hand-crocheted angel and a plaster of Paris cast of a baby's foot. I was no longer a confident employee walking through the halls with...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.